Okay, it looks that there's no more people to admit in the lobby, so I'm going to start with the presentation. I want to wish everybody a heartfelt welcome today, and for me it's a privilege to speak to all of you, and hope you find lots of value in what we're going to share today. Just a little bit about Edupac again. As you know, we have a cloud solution. Most of our clients are currently on the cloud. Some of our clients are still on our client service system, the Edupac for Windows system. And just to give you an idea of all the nice features that we have added to our cloud solution, which is online, is, and I'll go through all of them, but I would first like to tell all my colleagues and say to all my colleagues also joining from Edupac, thank you for the 25 years of service. Edupac had its 25th anniversary on the 1st of November this year. Can you believe it? It was amazing. It was the most amazing 25 years of my life. And we couldn't have done it without, of course, all our clients as well as the team. The Edupac support team, training team, management team, development team. We won't go away. We are here to stay. We did a wonderful thing during the lockdown, and I quickly want to tell you a little bit about that. We created and developed an e-learning system, LMS, that runs on a Moodle platform and integrates fully with Edupac. And it is available at minimal cost. You can just let the help desk know that you're interested. And of course, you can ingest all your own content and your own videos or digital materials, do online, and the learners can work offline at home. So that is a big plus, and of course remote as well. A big plus that we added to our system, our school information system. So now we have our own e-learning system, and the two is completely integrated. The curriculum management module that some of our schools use is also the focus of what needs to be sent through to the e-learning management module. Student management, lots of new features, employee management. You can now sign in with Microsoft or with your Google credentials instead of an email account that is an extra one. And then I would like to talk a little bit about our communication management. It has been expanded, and we have developed a lot of new features on it. And the reason why parents have to register on the communication management portal is for security reasons, because all the data and information, for instance, online admissions that they can do from there has to go via 256-bit encryption back to the school through the cloud. It's not just a form that you can fill in and send via normal email, because that information is sensitive and compliant to the POPI Act. We decided to, of course, keep it encrypted, whatever the parent puts on the portal, to be received at the school. And then, of course, at the school, after registration and approval, they are able to see their own learner or own children's information, marks, reports, who's giving the subjects, and also on the e-learning management module, they have access to see the assessments and the work that is done or moderated, as well as the continuous marks that are being approved or captured or obtained. And only after it's been moderated, they are able to also see the final results and download a pro forma report card before it's even presented professionally by the schools. So Edupac also in this past 4 years became a Microsoft approved education partner. We are on the international vendor list for school information systems, and that is a big feather in our cap, as they approached us. As you can see, we're also an Intel software and technology partner. So the big companies saw the value in our system, and they are happy with the way that we are doing it, which is on an international standard and level. So why do we still integrate with other systems? The school information system that we have, our Edupac, to simplify your management, is huge. We decided that not reinventing the wheel, but making things different and better and quicker and easier for you, that we will select certain partners to be able to integrate their solutions, which we do not have, for instance, EduSpec's grant and exemption management system, into our system, because we do record the results of grant applications. But the process that parents have to go through, the documentation, the approvals, we do not have that in our system, as we are an information system that just carries the information on our side. So Stefan is going to present the process or the application, how it's processed, what gets done, what is sent to the parents, the approval, how it's been managed by the school, and when they finalize it, that data is going to be sent through back to Edupac via our web services, and you don't have to, as an Edupac user, enter that information individually. There's also a place for documents, as you can see on the left-hand side. So the approval document from the SGB can also be attached on the learner, and that can be used for the billing. So if you run the financial system of Edupac, after your billing run, you can do, of course, your credit note run for your grants, whether it's monthly or whether it's annually upfront. I want to introduce Stefan. Stefan, if you could put your mic on, please. There we go. So over to Stefan. I'm going to put my video off, and but I'll stay here. So I'll hope to speak to you after the presentation. Thank you very much, and enjoy.
I'll say. Good afternoon, everybody. Just a quick word of thanks to Marianne and Edupac for arranging this this webinar today. I just see my slides on that running. It's a great privilege to associate with Edupac in this process. Marianne and myself, we know each other for together about 2 years ago, looking at how to implement and the integration for the schools. Just give me a minute. I can't pick up my slides to move. Okay, there it goes. So it seems it's going. I'll say. In terms of exemptions, all of us would know that exemptions is most probably the most burdened process that you have to go through at the beginning of the year when everybody applies for exemptions and things like that. So the exemption of school fees is the single most time-consuming task for financial staff at the beginning of the year. EduSpec therefore added automation, standardization and structure to the process within the parameters of the SA Schools Act and related regulations to handle this process fast and effective. So it's easy to use schools to assist the financial staff and the governing bodies to run and finalize the exemptions that you must handle per annum. So it's a quick and easy process. Currently, EduSpec is the only provider of an exemption program that functions 100% correctly and according to the SA Schools Act. That is coupled to our debt management system that allows school to do proper pre-handover debt collection as well. So, but we can do that at a later stage. There is upcoming webinars for debt management and other topics that we can discuss. EduSpec was developed over a period of 13 years, and we're serving schools across the country from quite big schools to quite small schools. And the benefit is the same for all. You save time and you save money. And maybe if you just look at the top corner there, we make it simple. So we try to keep everything simple and effective. We are also compatible with all school management systems and financial systems used by schools, and we integrate and update the information so that, Marianne said, you don't have to redevelop the wheel. All the information, if you submit information into Edupac, that will automatically upload it into EduSpec, and we're talking apples and apples. And that is why the systems, or the cooperation and the integration between us and them, will be of benefit to all the clients. If you look at these little rows that we have added efficiency to the system of exemptions. So parents would come in, they would apply. Once it goes to SGB to be approved. Once it's approved, we finalize, and that is basically the steps that we take to do an exemption. So there you can see an exemption summary. On the summary page, there's a new application, submit application, process application, finalize application. So that's basically the menu options that you will use to do an exemption. This is just and it's a nice a bit condensed, but this is what an exemption summary looks like. So once you start doing exemptions, it will populate by itself. It will give you information across what the exemptions are, what the status of the exemption is, whether it's issued or whether it's finalized or whatever it might be. At the bottom is all information from parents. Application form, if parents phones in with notes, if they send us information, all that information is recorded on the system and saved for future reference. You can also, from this page, you can send SMS, bulk email, and normal email to parents regarding the status of the exemption, and should you need something from them or whatever. If the exemptions are finalized and they can collect the letters, you can just go and say applications finalized, and you can send a bulk SMS to all parents stating that, dear Mr. So-and-so, the application for exemption was finalized, kindly contact the school to collect your letter or whatever it might be. So, and from this, your documentation for the department, application for compensation, your provisional reports, everything is then generated from this page as well. So if you go on to the, we go to the application. The system will then generate an application form, which consists of an application cover page, which is what you can see on the right hand side, which states what information you would need from a parent to effectively and efficiently, and within the parameters of the Schools Act and regulations, process the exemption. So the cover page can be edited or converted to your needs, so you can put your own application form or your own wording or whatever you can put in there. The complete application can either be generated from the system, and it's then, at the bottom you'll see there's a number and the barcode. So each and every application that's being generated from the system is generated to a specific family with a reference number with a barcode. So application forms cannot be issued to a family or a parent. We also cater for single and divorced parents, especially where parents come and say that we are divorced, I have no contact with the other parent. So what we will do is it will be a single application, but if the marital status is then divorce, no contact, the system will automatically generate an affidavit that is attached to the application form, and they have to come to go and fill that out. You must also make aware on your application form that should parents submit fraudulent applications, that they might be liable for prosecution. Something that happened after we've done this presentation. On Friday, we had a parent arrested at the school and he was arrested Friday afternoon 2 o'clock, and he was released yesterday morning at 11 o'clock on 2,000 rand bail, and the charge against him is in a financial transaction with the school. In February this year, he said that he was unemployed, and when they were requested to provide payslips, he provided payslips from a company who was employed for 6 years. So just a matter of interest that parents must understand that should anything like this happen, they will then, they can be prosecuted as well. So maybe that's something that you can include onto your exemption cover letter. And then applicants need to attach then all the copies that are requested in the application. They need to attach copies to their manual application that is returned to the school. And once that's being returned, the parent will bring it in. You go to the application number of the. Then this page will appear. You can do notes if you want to. And then the most important thing is you go through the application, and it's also a bit fine, but if you have to see whether the learner's IDs are there, whether the parents, if they are, for instance, divorced, is the ID there, is there a letter of divorce settlement or a divorce decree, whatever. If it's divorced and there should be an affidavit, was the affidavit signed and is it attached? Is there pay slips? Is there bank statements and whatever? So this is basically submit. And when you submit the form, the system will generate the application is complete or incomplete. In this case, this application was received incomplete, and the form will now be handed back to the parents, and it states that certified second parent ID, copy of the divorce order, and pay slips was not attached. So once you hand this back to the parent, the system will then record application received incomplete. So you know exactly what the status of that application is. Should the application be submitted as a complete application, it will say application received complete, and a similar letter to this will then be generated, but it will state that your application was received complete to be forwarded to the SGB to now proceed with the evaluation of your application. So once that's done, basically go to process application, and you just have to check the payslips and bank statements to see if there's not additional income. You use the gross income of the first and the second parent, so you call up the application again. You type in the first and second parent information. As far as salary is concerned, the balance of the information will be recorded in the system because we have the information, whether there's 2 children or 3 children or whatever it might be. And you can just click calculate, and within a split second, the system will then calculate the exemption and will give you a recommendation and the e-value. And from here, you can then go to print on the previous screen. You print it, which will then be forwarded to the governing body for approval. And on the form, it will give you the layout of the formula as dictated by the government in the Schools Act and the related regulations. It will calculate give you the parents' income information. It will give you the calculation, and to the governing body, it will also then forward a result, either full exemption, partial exemption, conditional, or whatever the exemption might be. They can evaluate this, and they can then just tick which in the applicable block. If they want to do a full exemption, they stick with full exemption. They tick and they sign and send it back to the admin, to the financial staff. If they want, for instance, maybe a interview with a family, they can just go to family interview. They put the date and time, and the letter will be then set in finalization, which I'll show you now, that the parent meeting with the SGB on a specific date, on a specific time. So, and then on the right-hand side is a second page of the exemption calculation. If they applied for exemption in the previous year, the results would be there at the top, and there would be comments of the previous year. All notes and stuff that was made on the system will be recorded there. So it makes it easy for them to just see whether parents from one year to the other are also honest in their application and honest in the presentation of documentation to the school. So the completed document, as I say, is forwarded to the governing body, and they can either approve it on hand, or if they have login details, they can actually approve this exemption calculation online, and it's over and done with. So you don't have to wait for your governing body treasurer till Kingdom come to come and sign documentation, which is a massive delay. If he approves it, he can physically approve it online, and you can just print the letters the next morning. And if he's clever enough, he can actually print the letters as well. And if you switch on your printer tomorrow morning, it will just start printing the documentation, because this is an online system. So we are connected to all the utilities that needs to be connected to. So it makes it just quick and easy. All the letters in the system will be signed by electronic signature, except for the exemption calculation. This have to be signed off physically by your governing body chairperson or your governing body treasurer in order for this process to be legal. So once that's then done, we go to finalize application, we call the information, again we can add notes, and the system will indicate that this is whatever the application is, and you click at the bottom print or finalize. It will finalize the application, and also within a split second, and it will then generate a letter indicating the result. So it will say, dear Mr. So-and-so, your application for the exemption referred, and conditional full exemption was granted. School fees are 10,000, exemption granted 10,000, and it will generate two letters, one with the signature line where the parent signs, that will remain with the school, and a copy that will then be presented to the parents so they can take it away. Once parents collected the letters and signed a copy, that will retain, the exemption is finalized, and it's on the exemption summary. So on the summary, it's continuously updated. So if you go back to exemption summary, it will say a conditional full exemption was granted, and if the parent collected the letter, the correspondence method will be also changed to, you can change it physically on the collection, and it will say it's a conditional full exemption, application collected by parent, or application result was emailed or SMS'd, or application result was handed to the child in an envelope, whatever it might be, and you know that you are done now with that application. So after this process, what will happen is, and that's what Mary Ann said, is once we are at this process finalized, the anticipation is that we will then forward a transaction to EduSpec, to Edupac's financial system. So if the school fees are 10,000 and we send a credit note for 10,000, the credit note will automatically be imported into the financial system. So on your next billing run, the parent account will then be zero, and it will go off any debt management and or any arrears or anything like that. So as soon as that is in place, we will also notify you according to that. Various reports is available, as well as a dreaded document that's called application for compensation. Out of EduSpec, the application for compensation for the department will generate within about 3 to 4 seconds, which makes it a very, very quick and effective process, and the system so that it makes it easy for everybody to use. You can also print it in Excel, you can print it as PDF, and whatever you want to do. So it's easy to go. We also integrate with other companies other than Edupac. I have explained to you what our integration with Edupac is, and then we also integrate with TPN, and a lot of you was exposed already to marketing from TPN. Now with TPN, we have an agreement where you at a nominal fee in EduSpec can have a trace report. For instance, if a mother comes to you and say that the father is missing in action, we don't know where he is, You can type in his number, and at the nominal cost, a trace report will be generated, and you can then basically see what his movements was, or where last did he apply for a cell phone contract or a bank account, or where last did he do what. There's also other reports, lifestyle reports and credit reports. There's also something that's new this year or for next year will be the bank account verification, because parents apply for exemption and then they attach bank statements of a ABSA account that's got the dedicated 5,000 Rand a month going into that account, and they say, well, this is my income and 5,000. So if you have a lifestyle report and they have a bond of R1 million, then it's easy to ask the question, if you only receive 5,000 Rand, how do you service a bond of R1 million? Because on R1 million, your bank repayments at this point in time should be around about 11,000 on the bond. So if they have a bond, how do they service it with 2,000? Something is fishy. So with a bank account verification, we can now go back to them and say, listen, but I know you've got an ABSA account, but where's your bank account statements for Nedbank and for Standard Bank and for Investec? We picked up a guy the other day. He's also pledged poverty, and when we did an inquiry, we found he had an Investec account, and the balance in his Investec account was 4.7 million Rand. So you can figure for yourself what has happened there. So that is TPN. In the debt management side, and that's also from Edupac financial side, we can upload the adverse payment information to TPN, and they will then contact parents via SMS stating that they're in arrears, and they will also upload adverse payment to the national database for poor performers. And if they go into clear score, they will have a nice pink dot at June or July. If they click on the pink dot, it will state that, sorry, your school fees at school ABC is in arrears or unpaid. So for the first time now, we will be able to list people who is in arrears with school fees. If you need contact details from TPN, you can just contact me. I will put you in contact with Rachel Milan, who is the marketing specialist for schools. Then we also have registered communication. That's more to do when you want to send either a registered document to a parent to apply for exemption, or you can send Section 41 letters from your financial system with registered communication from our system at a nominal fee of about 26 Rand, which is far cheaper than the post office. It's far cheaper than any of the other service providers out there, and it's legal. We had cases prosecuted where the registered documentation was forwarded to parents, and we succeeded in court with that the cases. Another thing about the registered communication is that we currently, and I'm not arrogant, I can say 100%, but I'll rather say 98% delivery rate of registered post or registered email, whilst with the SA Post Office currently you have a 0 delivery rate. So none of the stuff that's posted through the regular postal system will be delivered. So that's basically what we do with our registered, our integrated partners. As time goes by, there will be debt collectors of the larger debt collecting companies, and that will also be integrated partners, where we will be able to upload and hand over information at a very quick and effective pace, saving you a lot of time and a lot of effort. Good. I think this is basically very close to where I was. We just go through the advantages and benefits of EduSpec. It's an easy to use system. It's fast. It's very accurate. It's very effective. It's safe. Data is protected. So in terms of the POPI Act, there's nothing that can go wrong. It's all the information is confidential in the system, and it's also if information leaks, we will be able to trace who, what, where, and when was working on the system, or who took information from the system. Then the functions is within the framework of the South African Schools Act and the relevant regulations. We have the credit check, trace reports, bank account verification online. With TPN, there's a small cost involved. So yeah, Affidavits, where necessary, will be generated from the system, and it's a legal affidavit that has to be signed, so it's populated with the date and information. So yeah, it's also easy to go. And then the result emails, or the results can be emailed sent to parents via email or SMS. Automatic record keeping of current and previous years are available. Statistic report graphs to HTB meetings. We're looking at multiple user system with only one license. So if you get 5 people that works on the system, we won't charge you for 5 people 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. It will be an annual license fee for exemptions, and if you have 1 or 5 users, the cost remains the same. So there's no additional cost for additional users, and it just makes it so much easier. Governing body can approve applications online. We dealt with that. There's continuous support and system development. And other than other systems is, once you've paid your license fee, all support telephonically, via email, WhatsApp, whatever it might be, any desk, team viewer, all that is included in your annual license fee. So we will not send you invoices. You don't have to be afraid to contact us. You can speak to me as many as 20 times. If you need additional training, we will set up a training session for you online. If it's in close proximity and the cost of traveling is not too much, we will be able to visit you and assist you with training and support. And that is ongoing. So whatever we add to the system becomes part of the system. You will not be requested to pay for that. And the support is the same. And with support, if you phone, somebody will answer the phone. So it's not that you go to a call center or something. Someone will pick up the phone and speak to you. If I were busy, you can just send me a message. I was looking for you, and as soon as I'm out of the meeting or a presentation, whatever it might be, I will immediately call back and say, I note that you were looking for me. How can I assist you? And it's not just me. We've got other people in the system as well. Numbers will be provided. All your departmental reports and information that you need from time to time will then also be available. Bulk and single emails, SMSs, and emails can be prepared and are ready to use. You can edit all the letters, all the emails, all the SMS messages can be edited. So you don't have to use ours. If you have your own, you can use your own. And it says clients can edit their letters and emails and SMSs whenever. And I can't see the last one, but that's basically that. So that's the end of my story. I'm handing back to Marianne for the conclusion. And if there's time, I don't know what time is left. If there's questions, we'll take a few questions.
Thank you very much, Stefan. I do appreciate it. Just mute your camera as well. Just want to share. Okay, good. So this is the whole process, which is really a very huge administrative process that's being done by the schools, which can now be done with easy steps on the system. I saw some questions. We have about 15 minutes for some questions. Nico, if you will be able to just unmute yourself and repeat some of the questions, and then we'll give Ronella a chance with the answers that she also gave. So Nico Pienaar is also from Edupac. He's our KwaZulu-Natal regional manager and very much informed in terms of grants and exemptions. So Nico, please speak to Stefan about, just give him some of the questions. So
hello, yeah, I'm going to do some of the questions. I'm going to just scroll back quickly. So I just want to get to the first one. I think I've gone too far, so just allow me to go back to the first question. Okay, the first question, Sandy asked, can the information be imported from the application, Stefan?
Okay, in terms of the information, basically all the information is imported from Edupac onto our system. So the application must be filled out by the parents. The Department of Education still requests or requires a manual form. So what happens is they can just use that manual form as a check to see whether the information in our system, and then for that matter in Edupac, is up to date. Maybe cell phone numbers have changed or something like that, so they can just update it in our system and it will be done. But they will have to keep a manual form. So in terms of audit purposes, when the department wants to audit, they will still ask the manual form. They will still open up the financial system in Edupac, and they will open EduSpec, and they will still have to check between the three systems or the three scenarios whether the information is correct. And that therefore, we're working with apples and apples and apples. So they can scan documentation, but I don't know, it's not necessary that they have to be on our system. They have the manual copies and they keep it in a file in any way as is requested by the Department of Education.
Okay, Stefan, the second question is, will the whole process be done online by parents when they apply?
Parents, according to the SA Schools Act, must apply for exemption in person at the school. What we can do is if a parent, for instance, requests that they cannot come to school because of working arrangements, they can contact the school. We will record that the parent contacted the school. We will generate an application and we will forward that application via email to the parent. The same will apply where parents are divorced. The mother lives in Krugersdorp and the father lives in Polokwane. The mother applies, so she will take a hard copy of the application and we will email a copy with a letter stating to the father in Polokwane to apply for exemption. And we will alleviate correspondence being put on burdened children. They go to daddy for the weekend and they must take application forms with. So we take out that scenario so we can email it. But they must physically collect the form and it must be a document that they manually complete.
I've got a question that was partially answered by Edupac consultants. I'm going to ask it anyway. Does the exemption amount take into account payments received till the date? So lower exemptions is granted than what is calculated.
So for instance, a parent, normally it will happen, a parent is employed and he works and come April he's retrenched and now he wants to apply for exemption, so he can still apply for exemption. So we will go through the process as normal, but there is actually a spot where a tab where they can type in school fees paid to date, and the system will then take that into consideration, calculating the reply. Just on that, we also have a lot of parents say they are willing to pay, say, 300 Rand a month. So we also have a tab where they can type in monthly offer of 300 Rand, and that will also be part of the exemption calculation. So if they say they are prepared to pay, instead of getting full exemption, they will just get a partial exemption, which state they will say, for instance, have to pay 3,000 of the 10,000 Rand school fees.
Perfect, Stefan. So you just answered my next question anyway. The next question would have been if a parent is willing to, if a parent gets a full exemption and the parent is prepared to pay contribute a certain amount, how will the system handle that? But you just answered that in your previous reply. So that I'm going to skip that one. That was Michelle, by the way. Let me just see. There's another question. Do multiple users, the multiple users included, are they the SGB included in your system?
If your SGB members are clever enough to use the system, yes, you can. We also have access levels and access rights. For instance, the SGB will only be able to approve an application. They will not be able to do anything else. They will be able to do online inquiries and look at all the information, but they will only be able to process an application. So that's what they will do.
Okay, so there's
yeah.
So there's different levels of users, and the SGB member can become a user once it's granted by the school. Okay, cool.
The administrator will manage that. For instance, if there's a lot of staff in the beginning of your working and processing and stuff like that, but we don't want them to process or finalize. So they will only be able to submit applications and submit information, but they will not be able to process and finalize applications.
Okay, my second last question, I think, Stefan, That will be the most difficult question, is how do we get the system?
How do you get the system? Well, my email is on the screen. You send me a message or I'll send you an email, and you just request a quotation, and once the quotation accepted, we activate the system, and they just give us, out of Edupac, they give us permission for the upload of the information, and if you go to bed tonight, tomorrow morning your system will be updated exactly the same 100% with the information on Edupac. And that goes for the admin information and for the financial information.
Okay, next question, Stefan, and that's the last one I've got on there. I'm going to let you answer that as well. It's a very difficult question actually to answer. Compared to Edupac monthly fees, how affordable is EduSpec? So I suppose that will be handled via an email as well, I presume.
Yeah, but our cost, I can say that if your schools are 15,000 Rand per learner per annum, it's most probably part to one learner school fees per annum. That's what we charge. There's no additional costs for the support or anything, so that's what we charge. I can just say that schools using EduSpec, in terms of exemption applications, they actually see a decline because of the verification process that are built in. They start seeing a decline in applications, and on the debt management side, we currently month to month from last year to this year, we're looking at about anything between 15 and 25% increase in the payment of school fees, just by communicating more effectively to parents through our system.
Okay, I've got no more questions from all the chats, Stefan, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Nico. Ronel, you had some questions that you answered. If you want to elaborate on that or ask Stefan. Ronel?
All I wanted to say is the whole thing on Edupac's side, I will do a webinar a little bit later on how to do the credit notes and what to look for when the whole thing with EduSpec is finished, how to go on in Edupac to do the billing, as well as upload the forms and things like that that is also necessary. So from my side, I have answered them what I could answer down here. But I think Stefan has answered all the questions that was asked about it. That's from my side.
Thank you, Ronel.
Okay.
So, dear guests, these are the most common questions that we found in the chat box. This process, of course, if you look at the way that we integrated with EduSpec, the learner information, account information will be by web services be pushed to EduSpec, so that when they receive the grant applications at a school, that the data does not need to be captured again. We try to minimize duplicate data input. So the basic information will be in EduSpec to activate an application. As Stefan said, the first step is the application form, which needs to be filled in, and that is according to the South African education law. From there on, it seems quite electronic, and from Edupac's side, once the information is transferred back on FINALISE, as you saw on the one screen that I had on the integration screen, the data will be populated in terms of the finalization, and from there on, we just need to, on Edupac's side, be able to do our billing runs or school fee invoice runs, whether you do it over 10 months or 11 months, or whether you do it annually up front. And the date range, Ronel will explain on a financial webinar that she will prepare for you very soon and short, I hope so. We'll tell you exactly what to check for. And from our side, should the parents, and this is now something that I would like to add at the end of this presentation, the parent portal from Edupac, the communication portal. I'm going back to this slide. The communication and management portal. You probably don't have it activated on your system. please request from Edupac to have it activated at no cost so that you are able to send either emails or SMSs or even just data notifications to a group of parents or a group of accounts or a group of debtors. And you can do that by just sending an email, of course, to the help desk. That is the address there, helpdesk@edupac.co.za, and we can activate your communication portal. There is a small little manual that you can also perhaps send on to your parents on how to register. It's like registering an account on Facebook, just so that we are sure that the accounts or the people that are registering are indeed the same parent or the same account holder that we have on our Edupac system at the school. We know that fraud and ID theft and so on is very, very, it's a huge risk. And that is why our system does not allow open information to be sent by emails, such as applications or new enrollments, or even this information. And the documents, that final approval that is signed and that is a legal document, can be attached to the learner profile so that the parent have access to that document. They have access to the learner's document management on the mobile app, which is part of the portal, and they can have that document also available. So for future reference or if there are any queries. So that is very, very important to remain and always think about the POPI Act and the security of information of your learners and their parents, their email addresses, their telephone numbers, their addresses. And most of the systems currently available in South Africa does not cater and does not use that kind of encryption, which is similar to banking encryption that we use to keep our children's information safe. We need to keep it safe. We don't want it to be out there in the world where everybody can see it. And yes, it is important that we activate and we let our parents know that they can use the communication management portal, which is a mobile app that they can download for free from the Apple or the Android store, register, and the school can activate them, and they can differentiate between a parent or an account holder as well as an SGB member. Because if it is an SGB member, they can have access to the financial side of Edupac when they are at home. And that portal allows for that. So thank you all for putting this together. Thank you for all the support I got from my Edupac team. And it was nice talking to all of you. And hopefully we can keep up these webinars and give you more information. But feel free to send any other questions regarding your queries today, either to Help Desk or send it to both Help Desk and at Stefan at EduSpec. And I hope to see you soon again. Have a lovely afternoon.
Marianne, I just want to say, Nico wants to say something.
Oh, Nico wants to say something. Thank you, Nico. I didn't see your hand is up. Okay, Nico, you're on.
Maureen, just one thing. A lot of people ask about the recordings and the presentation, where it will be available afterwards. If you can maybe just say something about it.
Yes, we have a list of all the registrations with your school's name as well as your email address. So in the next couple of days, we will send you another email with a link of the PowerPoint presentation and a link of the curated video, which is just part of the presentation, so that you can open it and even download it if you want to. But you are able to revisit that link as many times as you wish, and as well as the PowerPoint on both, to familiarize yourself with what was said this afternoon and maybe pass it on to the people that needs to make the decisions on acquiring this awesome added value module that Edupac is integrated with to make your lives easier. Thank you very much.
Marianne,
Ronel?
sorry to bother you. I just want to congratulate Bertha Shepherd from Blegauri.
Yeah.
she's already sent a mail for us to activate the parent portal.
Wow. You see, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Ronelle, for letting us know. And
Thank you, Bertha.
and we'll make sure that you get the small little how-to video and steps and document on how to activate for your parents and what your parents need to do. Good. So please, when you request any information, put the help desk as well as Stefan's email on any queries so that we can see who should manage your questions or your information. I will appreciate that because between Edupac and EduSpec we've had a long-standing relationship, but I've known Stefan for the last 25 years working in the education environment of school information systems. So thank you, take care and have a lovely day and take care. Bye-bye.